Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So today we'll be discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22, verse 56. Rajeti Adan Namadeyam Rajeti Adan Namadeyam Soma-rāja Iva Paraha Soma-rāja Iva Paraha Suryavad Vrishajan Ghrinan Suryavad Vrishajan Ghrinan Pratapams Cha Bhuvo Vasu Pratapams Cha Bhuvo Vasu Rajeti Adanamadeyam Soma-rāja Iva Para Suryavad Vrishajan Ghrinan Pratapamsha Bhuvo Vasu. Rajit. Go ahead. Rajeti Adanamadeyam Soma-rāja Iva Paraha Suryavad Vrishajan Ghrinan Pratapamsha Bhuvam Vasu. Rajeti Adanamadeyam Soma-rāja Iva Paraha Suryavad Vrishajan Ghrinan Pratapamsha Bhuvam Vasu. Rajeti Adanamadeyam Soma-rāja Iva Paraha Suryavad Vrishajan Ghrinan Pratapamsha Bhuvam Vasu. Rajeti Adanamadeyam Soma-rāja Iva Paraha Suryavad Vrishajan Ghrinan Pratapamsha Bhuvo Vasu. Raja, the king. Iti, thus. Adat, took up. Namadeyam, of the name. Soma-rāja, the king of the moon planet. Iva, like. Apara, on the other hand. Suryavat, like the sun god. Vishrajan, distributing. Ghrinan, exacting. Pratapan, by strong ruling. Cha, also. Bhuvan, of the world. Vasu, revenue. Translation by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Mahārāja Pṛthu became as celebrated a king as Soma-rāja, the king of the moon. He was also powerful and exacting, just like the sun god, who distributes heat and light, and at the same time exacts all the planetary waters. In this verse, so this is the purport. In this verse, Mahārāja Pṛthu is compared to the kings of the moon and the sun. The king of the moon and the king of the sun serve as examples of how the Lord desires the universe to be ruled. The sun distributes heat and light and at the same time exacts water from all planets. The moon is very pleasing at night, and when one becomes fatigued after a day's labor in the sun, he can enjoy the moonshine. Like the sun god, Pṛthu Maharaj distributed his heat and light to give protection to his kingdom. For without heat and light, no one can exist. Similarly, Pṛthu Maharaj exacted taxes and gave such strong orders to the citizens and government that no one had the power to disobey him. On the other hand, he pleased everyone just like the moonshine. Both the sun and the moon have particular influences by which they maintain order in the universe. The modern scientists and philosophers should become familiar with the Supreme Lord's perfect plan for universal maintenance. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swa Padantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vatamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. So we saw in the purport there is more emphasis given to how the king should rule the universe, right? So if I'm to say that we all are in one way leaders of the society or of someone, would you agree? Each one of us are leaders? Yes? Can we say, why can we say that each one of us are leaders? Someone else. Yeah. Anything else? Yes, perfect. Anything else? So Prabhu said that it's the time when you can be an example for others and inspire one another. And Prabhu said one is anyway taking responsibility of someone. Why are each one of us called, we can say them as leaders? Why? Any more examples? One is we are able to inspire others, we are able to influence, inspire, taking responsible. And if nobody is there, we are taking care of ourselves. And for that, we need to be leaders for ourselves. We need to be self-regulated. Right? So, as devotee, Srila Prabhupada says that an individual can be seen as a leader because one is leading by example, achara. So, the leadership is not limited to titles or positions. Right? So, anybody can be a leader. If a devotee chants properly, sincerely, follows the regulative principles and behaves with integrity, then we consider them as a leader and we can follow them. And like personal responsibility. First, one has to become perfect, then one can start to teach others. Right? So, in that way, we take personal responsibility for ourselves of how we behave, how we be a role model for others. It could be in the workplace, it could be in our society, community, wherever we are. And towards empowering our mission, Srila Prabhupada wanted his disciples not just to follow, but also to preach. Right? So Prabhupada said, you could either write or sing or paint or cook or organize festivals. In every service, you are in a way leading by example and showing others how to perform devotional service, and everybody could follow. So like this, Prabhupada's vision was each one of us should become a guru, and we should simply repeat what we have learned. In that way, we are a perfect leader. So in this way we can say each individual is a leader in the sense that everyone has an ability to inspire, influence and guide others through their words, actions and by example. So in this purport particularly, this is another description of how Pṛthu Mahārāja was able to rule the universe properly. The king is compared here to ruling the universe as the sun and the moon. It is just like a father's principle or mother's principle. Both are important. It is more like liberal and conservative approach. Both are important. It is something like having an authority and also at the same time nurturing one. So as authority, what does the king do? With the authority, the king is able to protect, and at the same time he also puts taxes on the citizens. So, and on the nurturing side, what does he do? He provides the facilities and he also fulfills the desire of his citizens. So in the first principle, where he protects, at the same time he gives taxes to the citizens, what does he do? He first gives and then he also looks for reciprocation from the citizens in the form of taxes. So in every relationship, we give and we take. If there is no giving, if there is no protection, then there is no reciprocation, then there is no relationship. Right? So it's very important to have always something to give and something to take as well. So when we talk about the moon form of leadership, in that sense, see, after very hard labor, people come and enjoy the pleasantness of the moon, right? Let's say if the sun is, shining very bright and it's giving heat and light, so that is also very important. Authority is also very important. So one is able to, so the sun actually takes the water from the earth and then gives it back as rain. And because of the rain, the plant grows. And the plants are also nourished by the moon. So it goes hand in hand. The sun is not separate or the moon is not separate. So we need the sun as well as the moon. And after this day's work of hard labor, one enjoys the pleasantness of the moon. So the moon is also essential, the sun is also essential. So both protection and nurturing is also essential when we come to leadership aspect. So this is what Prabhupada emphasizes, that even the modern scientists and philosophers should know when they are ruling the universe. And when we think about king, we also think about the government and we also think about the citizens, right? So when there is a king, the king gives authority to the government, and hence the government is able to apply the authority over the citizens. And in turn what happens? Then the citizens follow the rule. But if the king does not give enough protection or give enough authority, then there is no such condition as being able to support the citizens. So it is very important that the king takes care of first the system of governance and then the system takes care of the citizens. And in turn, what happens? So by rendering service or by offering that support, the king in turn gets taxes. He also gets support from the citizenship. There is also reciprocation. But if there is no service rendered, then there will be no reciprocation. So to the degree in which one serves, to the degree there will be reciprocation. Yeah. Here we see that the King Pṛthu was distributing so nicely, and therefore one could run very well without protection. And we know that without protection no one can function. So there is a combination of empowerment and pleasantness when one leads. Srila Prabhupada, we discussed that he also wanted the modern scientists and philosophers to know this principle, and based on which they can do something to the betterment of the society. Someone asked the Sadhu, you are saying that Pṛthu Maharaj is such a great ruler, he has been very strict, and that no one dared to disobey him. But we see that sometimes we disobey our authorities. So in our spiritual community, it's not that we are able to follow our leader perfectly. Why is that? What can we do to make some adjustments? So the leader Maharaj says that if everybody knows their duties, then one can function very well. In other words, the orders that the king or the leader gives should be perfectly in line with the scriptures. Basically, King Pṛthu Maharaj's orders or instructions were in line with scriptures, so it was very easy for the citizens to follow. So similarly, if we take up any leaders, so the leader should communicate what a citizen or what a student should do or what a disciple should do, so that he will be able to function properly. So without that support, then the disciple can't function rightly. So therefore everyone needs to understand what is the instructions that is coming from the king or the leader, so that they can perform their duty very well. So if the authority itself was wrong, then the student will not follow. Or basically why the student doesn't follow or why the disciple doesn't follow is because they think they are right, they are better than the teacher. So that's when they don't follow the authority. So the teacher should make sure that the communication or whatever needs to go to the student goes in the right fashion, in an acceptable manner, so the student can perform the tasks very well. So we should know that there needs to be proper directions from the leaders, so the students can execute it. Again, the combination makes it a smoother interaction. And we all know Prabhupada was an exemplary leader. There were a lot of qualities, but today we'll just take up 5 top qualities of Srila Prabhupada and see what makes him a great leader. Right? So one is, you can name, you know better than me, so if you can name few qualities of Srila Prabhupada which makes him the exemplary or great leader, what could it be? Determination, very good. He's a good role model. Knowledge, very good. Compassionate, yes. Yes, Srila Prabhupada took care of his devotees even physically. Anything else? Tolerance? Did somebody say tolerance? Yeah, he tolerated all our anarthas. Correct? What else? He practiced what he preached. Role model. Yeah. Humility. Excellent. That is what I was expecting. So that's the topmost quality that he followed. Yeah, let's delve deep into the first topmost quality, which is humility. Second is enthusiasm, which we'll be discussing today. And the third will be he recognized excellence. And fourth, we'll be discussing how he gave creative freedom. So first, like Prabhu said, we'll start with humility. In 1965, when Prabhupada reached America, he was almost there in the Boston harbor. On the way in Jalatudha, Prabhupada wrote a poem, right? What was that poem name? Markine Bhagavad Dharma. So, what does it mean? Teaching Bhagavatam in America, right? Srila Prabhupada first arrived in America in the cargo ship Jalatudha, and he was 69 years old. He had no money, he had no institutional support from his godbrothers or, back in India. He was suffering heart attack. Still he made it. And in that prayer, Markine Bhagavata Dharma, he writes, out of humility, he writes to Krishna, I'm admitting my inability to preach in this foreign land. I see that the people here are basically in passion and ignorance, that I don't know how to preach to these people. Yeah, so he depends entirely on Krishna, and he says, I have no devotion, nor do I have any knowledge, but I do have strong faith in your holy name, Krishna. Please allow me to be your instrument and help me preach. So that is where he emphasizes this strong and true humility, acknowledging one's smallness, even though he was not small. He does acknowledge, and he's standing boldly to serve Lord's desire. And the next is, we wanted to discuss about Prabhupada's enthusiasm. So in 1967, he started, giving that message of Krishna consciousness to people in America. He was alone. At this ripened age, he used to go for harinams outside on the street. By seeing his enthusiasm, hearing to his kirtans, many hippies would come and join him. Even though there might not be hundreds of students, there might be 1 or 2 students, he will call them to the apartment. He will give lectures as though he is giving a lecture to hundreds of people. He would cook for them. He would actually show them how to perform deity worship. He will wash their pots, do everything to please them. And he served them with so much enthusiasm. So this made these people who are following Prabhupada think, oh, this great soul, he is doing so much for us. I can give my life for this person. So that was his enthusiasm we can learn. And we also see that another beautiful quality, he's genuinely appreciated everyone's service, no matter how small it was. Right? He would see a person cleaning a pot. There'll be mountain of pot, and the devotee will be cleaning day in and day out. And Prabhupada goes to him and says, your service is no less than somebody preaching out on the street, or distributing out on the street, or performing deity worship, or you name it. He says it is same as what anybody else is doing. It is because of your sincerity in washing this pot, you will go back home, back to Godhead. So this small service, if it was called out and if it was appreciated, the devotee gets very ecstatic, and he puts more effort and makes it, because it enlivens him. So he feels very supported and encouraged, and he does it with great reverence and more dedication. Similarly, when Prabhupada was received in the airport, lots of devotees would come to receive him. And even though Prabhupada was tired, he would actually thank each and every devotee who have come to receive him. He'd say, you are showing so much love to me. Thank you for all of this. And you are working so hard for Krishna. I am pleased with your services. So Prabhupada didn't see them as just mere followers, right? He saw them as co-workers in Lord Chaitanya's mission. And hence, he made everybody feel part of the movement, and hence everybody felt very nourished. So this shows qualities of a true leader, how he could uplift others, seeing their small efforts or big efforts. And we can see that in a lot of places he would actually have even appreciated non-devotees of how much effort they are putting, and he would recognize their effort. So he appreciated basically everyone. So in that sense, we don't have to distinguish, non-devotee or devotee, and then we don't have to appreciate only. See, everybody has some good quality, and if they are directed rightly, they can come back to Krishna. So that is what Srila Prabhupada did as well. And next important quality is that of, so we discussed about humility, we discussed about enthusiasm. Third, we discussed about appreciating everyone. And fourth, we will be discussing about how he recognized excellence. Correct. So if someone does a good job, he will recognize them and empower them. So the situation we can take is that of Jayananda Prabhu. He was a car driver in America. Whatever he used to earn, he used to put in his service of making rath carts. He used to be an example for hard work, showing humility, and building big rath carts for Jagannath Rath Yatra festival. So Jagannath looked at all his efforts, and when he passed away, Srila Prabhupada wrote a letter to the people in Los Angeles saying, I'm very proud that I have had such a nice disciple, and people in Los Angeles should hold a festival for my disciple in honor of his great work on the disappearance day, just like how we celebrate other Vaishnava Acharyas' birthdays. So in this way, Prabhupada recognized the extraordinary service that a devotee had done, and he kept him in a place equal to other Vaishnava Acharyas. So there's a next one which we can see is that of how Prabhupada gave creative freedom, right? So during those days when Prabhupada was writing Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, he would need devotees to actually start drawing and painting pictures from the scriptures. So what does Western people know about our Indian culture or about the scriptures? So Prabhupada would just give a high level or information or guidelines on how the depiction should be made. He'd say, okay, Krishna must be bluish in color, his head should be a little bit tilted like this, and he would say the spiritual world should have lot of variety, lot of color. And then the Western devotees would take, yes, we should actually they would accept that, and he would not go in detail telling them what to do, and he will not pitch in and say, okay, he'll just give you a high level and then he'll go. He'll not be intruding in your work and ask, what is this, what is this, what is this? So Prabhupada gave them the creative freedom, and that's when this ISKCON art came into life, which even, it's not any sectarian, which could not be classified as any sectarian one, but it is now classified as ISKCON artwork, and even Westerners actually take it as an important thing to see before even they read the scriptures. So that's an important service that they could perform, which Srila Prabhupada encouraged, and this happened. So like this, we can go ahead with giving a lot of examples of Prabhupada, where he shows his qualities of how he recognized people who are doing service in very different ways. So that's pretty much what we had to discuss. If you have any questions, we can discuss. Or fine, thank you. Any? Yeah? Yeah, bro, you go ahead. You go ahead. So the question Prabhu is asking is, if we know that we don't have such qualities and if we are given the leadership role to play, should we take up that qualities or should we wait until we develop all those qualities, right? So what do you think? Should we do it or should we not do it? Nobody is perfect, right? So we are all in the path of trying to get there. So if we know that these are the qualities and if we know that we are lacking, itself means you have identified that some things are lacking, you want to improve. When the desire is there to improve, then automatically Krishna or Gopinath will give you the knowledge to acquire those qualities. So we start small. Today I might be 5%. Tomorrow I can get to 10%. In engaging the service, over a period of time, we'll be 80 to 90% there. And is that enough? More than enough, yeah? Prabhupada said 80, 70, not less than that. So yeah, have faith. Because the point is we are all learning, we will learn slowly and steadily. So wherever we are, we can go from there. So definitely take up the opportunity and serve. Hare Krishna.
You mentioned about the sun and the moon, like how the sun is giving protection. The sun is
Protection, yeah.
Yeah, sun is scorching hot and everything, and then the moon soothes. And so, Pṛthu Maharaj being a empowered incarnation, he was able to do that. But so, at this point of time, some people have a certain nature, like. So they, by default, go through that nature. So for them, somebody would like to always see as authoritarian. Somebody would like to feel themselves like they're mellowed down. So how do we, for a person who's authoritative or a person who's very is a very mellowed person, how do they make the balance so that they can give the best of both?
Yeah. So I was listening to a lecture yesterday, and in that Maharaj says, the question, I'll repeat the question. Prabhu is asking, like in leadership roles, some people take more authoritative role and some people are more mellowed. So it's not a combination. But actually the scriptures say it should be a combination. But the reality is either somebody is more authoritative or somebody is more, mellowed down. That's where we are. As we are discussing, we try, if we are more authoritative, we try to put more nourishment, more mellowness in our dealings. And if we are more mellowed, we try also to become a little bit more authoritative and try to give protection. Not just nurture, but give that authority and facilitate things. The example which Maharaj gives is, the kings of this world are taking guidance from the kings of the heavenly planets, it seems. So Indra, being the king of the heavenly planets, he is the powerful or strongest in sense gratifying. So he wants that role, he wants that authority. So one is given that role and he can do. But there are also people, residents of Tapaloka and what Loka? Janaloka. Yeah, so there are people who are more advanced than people who are just needing that sense gratification. So they are actually considered more advanced. So it is like, okay, the king needs that power, that authority, we give it. But people who are not needing that sort of sense gratification can assist him as brahmanas. The brahmanas are more superior than the kings. They don't want that authority. So what they take, the role of being in the court of kings, and they give them advice. So one can also be like that, where the mellowed people or the knowledgeable people can be in the court of the king and give advice to the kings for the better ruling of the society or the, yeah, okay, the order. Anything else? All right. Thank you then. Hare Krishna.